So today we're going to use the HVL-28RM, I believe. I don't remember the names of these things, but this is the 28, the little one. It's the 2 AA battery unit for Sony. At the end, I'm going to throw in the 46 just for a 2 light, real quick thing. But the point of this video is for, natural light shooters. I know we require or expect a lot of the dynamic range out of cameras, so we don't have to use flash. We can just measure for that sky and then pull up the shadows, but that introduces noise, and having a little flash on the camera just to fill in some shadows so you don't have to pull it up as much or stress it out as much really helps. And for the Sony system, I've said it before, these flashes, in my personal experience, work better than any other. And I love ProPhoto A10s. Don't get me, I love the Godox system. But as far as flash and color, these work really well with the Sony cameras. And that's why I use them. And for an event, I think they're fabulous. Now, I'm going to shoot this for somebody new. I'm going to set auto ISO, aperture priority, TTL, that's it. But I'm going to take this down to -3, and you can do that right in camera, or on this one you have to do it right in camera. On the 46 you can do it on the unit itself, but just take it down 0.3, and this way it's just fill. It's not going to flatten out their features on their face. It's just going to give you that little bit of fill light, and give you a little bit more leeway as far as having to push those files in post. Now, the kicker to this, although this works spectacularly for a fill flash and regular flash, for low light, when you're in an event or in a studio and it's dark, you're going to have to change your ISO from auto to a selected ISO. The only way to trip these flashes up and this system up is to put it on ISO in dark situations, because the camera, no matter what, seems to go pushing towards the ambient versus the flash. And everything is going to be blown out. It's going to take you up to 6400, whatever you have your maximum set at in camera. It's going to take it all the way up because it's measuring for the light, the ambient, not the flash. And I don't know why they do that. Or see, with Leica, I can say, here's my maximum ISO for flash when flash is attached. That I think is just brilliant. Sony hasn't implemented something like that yet. So that's the only way to trip these up, is using auto ISO in dark situations. In normal situations, fill light, that kind of stuff, where you have decent light, this works 99% of the time perfectly. But getting back to the shoot. So the shoot is just, it's natural light shooters. I love natural light shooting. I really do. I love it. But I don't like taking off-camera flash, on the other side of that, because it's just cumbersome. So if I can mix the both worlds, where I don't have to take the big equipment and worry about light stands and modifiers, and I can just throw this on top of my camera, I'm set. I'm happy. And that's what we're going to try to achieve today. I'm going to try to achieve that look that would even make natural light shooters happy, while making me happy, as I want to control some of the light. So I'm going to be able to set my exposure for the ambient light and use this for a fill and not worry about having to pull it in post. That's the point of this shoot. And of course, showing you what the 28 can do, because it's just such a small unit, and it runs on 2 AA batteries. Now, I got through the whole shoot with just one set of AA batteries, just 2 AA batteries. I use rechargeable, and believe it or not, I use IKEA brands rechargeable batteries. I'm going to leave them in the link in the description. I believe they're in accessories or something like that in my thing, but these batteries are the best I've ever used. I really love them, and I've tried them all, believe me, and by far these just work great for me. For those of you still using AA batteries in your flash, that's the other thing. I'm hoping the next iteration of Sony flashes have rechargeable, but yeah, I don't know, because the time frame of these, I think it's like 10 years in between upgrades, or something ridiculous. But you know, as far as the flash and the color and so forth, it really does work well. But I want to show you the shoot. If you have any questions, leave them below. The other thing is, someone made a comment that you know, this doesn't matter because, you know, the flash doesn't control the light or the exposure the camera does. Listen, if the camera and the flash don't talk perfectly, it's not going to work. So, you know, as much as you want to say, okay, well, the camera controls everything, it does to an extent, but it controls on what output and what the reading is. And Sony has that down better than anybody else, even better than ProPhoto, believe it or not. And I love ProPhoto flashes, but this, the 28, the 46, the 60, they all talk extremely well, the new Sony cameras, and really do great work with exposure, other than dark. Now, once you set your ISO for an event, like say I'm going to set my ISO to 1600 because I want to see some of the ambient lighting, and use this again for a field flash, it works perfectly. But you can't rely on auto ISO. It just won't work in dark situations, you know, and it shouldn't really. Now, again, you know, with the Leica, I can use a spot meter, and I tried the spot meter with this as well. It doesn't work. You know, I need to set the ISO if I'm in a dark, this is the only light situation. But once I do that, this is very, very accurate. Anyway, now I'm going to get to the shoot. Thanks for watching as always. If you have any questions, you know what to do. It's actually amazing what a little tiny flash on top of your camera can do outdoors, you know, versus that whole big setup. Now, I'm never trying to compete with the sun, but adding a little bit of fill flash in the face, so I don't have to pull so much in post, is everything. And I do get a little catch light in the eyes with this. Obviously, it's a tiny spot because it's a small light, but vertical, horizontal, it doesn't matter. It just works. The camera stays around ISO 100 because I'm on auto ISO. I'm at like minus 0.3. You can even take it to, you know, a full stop under if you want on the flash for compensation. You know, at full, I'm still getting a good look, but you can see the inner face. You can still see shadows. You can still see definition. That's what I love. And this is another benefit of shooting like a 50 for portraits. Now I'm a good 10, 12 feet from her, and that flash is still creating light. And it's a small flash. It's a, you know, guide number 28 on this thing. But it works. And, you know, even at full power, you know, 10, 12 feet, it just works. Close up, it works. Now, you know, because I'm closer on most of these shots, I'm not shooting full length the whole thing. It's not, you know, pumping out at full power the entire time. Obviously, these batteries are going to have no issue handling the whole shoot. But we did 4 different outfits, I don't remember, both indoor, outdoor, and the flash just kept going. And, you know, I didn't have to change out the batteries. Now, this is direct shade. I'm 12 feet from her. And my very first, there it is. I mean, it's just, it filled the shadows. It still has definition. You know, I'm not taking anything away or flattening the image. You know, obviously, if you're using a giant reflector and putting it on the side, you know, this is mostly light from the left, but that little bit of fill on her right, it just works. That's all I'm going to say. It's a nice setup to walk around with and take photos and not have to carry the big heavy equipment. And it's just a nice little additive to natural light shooting that you wouldn't have otherwise. Now, these are out of camera. I'm not editing these. You know, I crop them, that's it, you know, for the 4x3, because I always crop to 4x3. But, you know, these are basically out of cameras. I think I tweaked 2 of them because they were a little under, and that wasn't even far away. It was, you know, human error, not camera error. But I tried everything with this, you know, in different situations. Like, this is all green. Everything reflecting to her is green. And you can see, like, it does go a shift yellow or a shift greenish yellow. But working on that in post, it would be nothing to fix and to make it look, you know, better than that. But I just wanted to show you what you're getting out of camera versus, you know, a whole bunch of tweaked and edited photos. Because, you know, I mean, without a flash, you can edit a photo and it can look good. But again, you'll have a little bit more of that noise in the photo if you're having to pool. Now this, with the blue sky, you know, she went more yellow than I would like. But again, this is out of camera, so there's no post-processing here. Now, when I went in the studio, I did handheld versus on camera with the remote. And, you know, I love this look because I can control this light so much. Whether I put it to the side if she's away from the background, or if I put it directly in front of her when she's right in front of the background, it works. That's all I'm going to say. And being able to turn it vertically or horizontally, the flash itself, to get more coverage vertically or horizontally, that's fantastic too. But it's lightweight, it's easy to use, it fits in your pocket. It's a nice little flash. Now, here's the thing. I'm switching over to 2 light system now. I'm going to have, you know, one on the camera, or one in my hand, one on a stand with the remote. You know, I can add dimension because I'm holding this off to the side. I have that hair light in the back. It just produces nice images. Again, this stayed at ISO 100. Even though I have the window light, it just works. Again, it needs color tweaking, obviously, but it is a great base. And the only thing I didn't do was switch it over to flash, which would have taken care of that color. You know, if I switched over the white balance to flash, it would have taken care of this. But it's still not bad. Now here, I just wanted to show you what this looks like on auto ISO in a dark studio, because it just doesn't work. It picks up ambient even if I'm on spot. But, you know, I'll switch it to ISO 100 now and try this. And here's one flash. That's the 28 on the stand with the remote, and that's ISO 100 with a fill card, not a fill flash.